This Chinese man is considered a madman because he spent $120 million to build China's largest fish farming base in the desert, a task that many people think is almost impossible. After all, the desert has a harsh climate and severe water shortage. Raising fish in such an environment seems like a ridiculous idea. However, in just 10 years, this Chinese man overcame all difficulties. By building and managing 15 fish ponds, his fish farm produced an annual fish output of 300,000 kilograms and achieved a profit of 300 million yuan. Now people's respect and praise for him are getting higher and higher, and some people are even willing to follow him to make money by raising fish in this desert. So why would he raise fish in the desert? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. The Kumtag Desert in western China spans the two cities of Gansu and Xinjiang, covering an astonishing area of 22,000 square kilometers. As one of the top 10 deserts in China, it is known for its high mobility among global deserts, ranking second in the world. In the history of China, the Kumtag Desert was part of the ancient Silk Road. This historic route was the avenue for commercial and cultural exchanges between the western regions and mainland China. Caravans of the past shuttled here, making this desert witness to countless humanistic and economic activities. However, with the passage of time, the once prosperous desert has faded, and today the Kumtag Desert has become an untouched area. However, under this seemingly lifeless desert, a Chinese businessman came here to breed 300,000 kilograms of fish. What on earth is going on? As far as I know, there is a famous fish farmer named He Yanzhong in Gansu Province, China. Since 1986, the number of rainbow trout produced in the fish farms he established has accounted for 70% of the total production in Gansu Province, and he has quickly become the largest fish farmer in the region. By 1989, He Yanzhong's annual income exceeded tens of millions of yuan, but he was not satisfied with this and was eager to further expand his fish farming industry. However, the limited land area available for farming in towns in Gansu Province limits his ability to further expand the scale of farming. Faced with this dilemma, He Yanzhong began to focus on greater possibilities and resource utilization. The desertification problem is particularly serious in Gansu and Xinjiang, with nearly 170,000 square kilometers of land being desertified. As a result, He Yanzhong came up with a very challenging idea. He would use these desertified lands to solve the problem of insufficient breeding space. As a result, He Yanzhong began to explore a seemingly impossible new field, raising fish in the desert. It is worth mentioning that when He Yanzhong proposed the plan to use the desert for fish farming, he encountered widespread skepticism and ridicule. His friends and collaborators thought it was unrealistic and even thought he was joking. After all, in the desert, many villagers cannot even provide basic living water, let alone fish farming in this desert. What's more serious is that the Kumtag Desert is one of the driest areas in China. The temperature here often easily exceeds 70 degrees, and the annual precipitation rarely exceeds 30 millimeters, so it is difficult to raise fish here. But in the face of these doubts, He Yanzhong did not choose to respond with words, but proved his point of view through practical actions. He knows that only concrete success stories can break the shackles of traditional ideas and ultimately change the views of those around him. As early as 2001, He Yanzhong successfully arrived in the desert area of Gansu Province, but all he saw here was endless desert yellow sand. Here, water and electricity shortages are serious problems, and even roads are open in some places. However, these harsh conditions did not deter him, but instead strengthened his determination to carry out desert fish farming in this extremely arid land. In order to conduct experiments, He first invested 200 million yuan to contract 3,000 acres of desert land and successfully transformed 1,200 acres of the land into a fish farming base, establishing a total of 15 fish ponds. But then he will face the serious challenge of lack of water resources. He then sent geological scouts to search for water resources in the area. As a result, they discovered that there was a huge spring hidden in Gansu province, originating from the glacial mountains of the Chilean mountains. But they realized that spring water alone could not support large-scale fish farming, so they launched a more ambitious plan. He Yanzhong thought that since the spring water comes from the glaciers of the Chilean mountains, this natural water flow path can be used to create water conservancy and breeding farms along the route. So, in 2004, an ambitious water diversion project was launched. According to the plan, He Yanzhong spent 30 million yuan to build 19 dikes with a total length of 60 kilometers to stabilize the flow of sand and prevent further desertification. These dams take advantage of the characteristics of local clay and desert soil layers to not only fix quicksand, but also naturally filter impurities in the water body, forming a natural reservoir for underground water. As a result, when a steady stream of living water enters the fish pond, the water shortage problem of farmed fish is solved. After the water resource problem was solved, the businessman successfully released 600,000 rainbow trout fry into the fish pond, and everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. However, just when He Yanzhong thought they had solved a major problem, a huge sandstorm that had never been seen in a century suddenly hit, causing a devastating blow to their efforts. Thick sand and dust covered the sky. Violent storms almost destroyed the entire area, and the fry in the fish ponds also suffered a devastating disaster overnight. But faced with such a serious setback, the Chinese entrepreneur did not choose to give up. He decided to start over from scratch and throw himself even more firmly into the rebuilding effort. He began to take advantage of the abundant water resources in the Chilean mountains. He began to build an ecological jungle and set up 3 forest protection barriers up to 9 meters high. These barriers not only greatly enhance the protection ability of fish ponds, but also contribute to desert greening and ecological restoration. In 2011, through He Yanzhong's unremitting efforts and persistence, this fish pond finally ushered in its first harvest. What is amazing is that the fish production that year was as high as 300,000 catties, which brought him more than 300 million yuan in economic income. Although a lot of economic losses were suffered during the early breeding process, this bumper harvest not only made up for the previous losses, but also greatly improved the return on investment. The entrepreneur didn't stop at the fish pond's success. He began to further expand the use of the abundant water resources in the Chilean mountains, not only opening up vineyards in the area, but also developing tourism and other ecological industrial parks. These emerging industries not only bring new growth points to the local economy, but also promote the diversified development of the regional economy. In fact, there are about 12 villages scattered around He Yanzhong's breeding base, and thousands of villagers have lived here for more than 60 years. However, due to the harsh desert environment, it is not suitable for large-scale development of agriculture and breeding. They have been living in impoverished conditions for the past few decades. But now, He Yanzhong has successfully launched a fish farming business here and is also enthusiastically teaching some fish farming techniques to local villagers. After learning fish farming techniques, the economic conditions of many villagers have been significantly improved. They were grateful to He Yanzhong because he not only changed their lifestyle, but also helped them become wealthy. Many people have always thought of the desert as a useless wasteland, but for those with vision and creativity, the desert is a place full of opportunities. He Yanzhong can carry out desert fish farming in this arid area through reasonable transformation of the desert, and can also attract investors to build photovoltaic power generation facilities in this land with sufficient sunlight. For some countries with severe desertification, this innovative approach can completely turn deserts into green energy production bases. I think this is a very good opportunity. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.